All right, welcome to the channel for the first time viewers. Welcome back for my existing subscribers. Today is season 2's second episode of Are They Madden Good? Person I'm going to be doing today is Lamar Jackson. So I'm going to be going over the same thing I always do in this series, and that is whether or not he's good at the actual game versus just his stats being up there as a rookie. All right, let's get into it. First, I want to talk about Lamar's situation. He's a running quarterback, and he's got a little bit of help, really good defense behind him. So if you're a really good defensive player, this might be a team that you might want to roll into. I like to think of him as like baby Vick. So he's like Michael Vick as far as his arm strength and his speed goes. He's a little bit slower than Vick was back in the day, or his prime back in Madden 04, if you guys remember those days. Best soundtrack ever. But yeah, without that, I would say definitely one of those dudes that if you like to run options or if you like to roll out a lot, this is going to be somebody that you might want to pay attention to. All right, let's talk about some of his stats right now. All right, let's go with the biggest stat, which is his speed. Right now, his speed is rated at a 91, which is phenomenal, especially for a quarterback. You can pretty much burn all the linebackers and, well, except the most athletic ones. You can burn most of the linebackers and you can burn almost every defensive end in the game. So getting around the corner is not going to be an issue with him, especially after you've rolled out. If you're running like a shotgun situation or shotgun formation and you send everybody downfield, if they don't have a really fast linebacker, that is going to be an exploit for the ages, because you're going to have at least 15 yards before any corners can come back to you and try to make that tackle. So that's what a 91 speed will get you. His agility is a 95, and with this real player motion, if you're not holding down the sprint button, what you'll want to do is you'll be able to hold the left trigger, LT or L2 is how I have mine set up, and you can make sharper cuts. So people with higher agility, higher jukes, they'll be able to pull those moves off a lot more easily than somebody with lower agility and a lower juke rating. So following that up, you have your acceleration, which is a 93, and just going along with the speed, you always want acceleration to be a little bit higher than the speed, because what will happen is, back in the day, I don't really see it too much anymore, but back in the day, you'd have somebody with really low acceleration, like a 85 acceleration and like a 92 speed, and they would just feel really slow because it took them forever to gain traction. This is not the case with Lamar. Essentially, as soon as you put down the ball, this dude is gone. Barring that stupid ass tackle where you hold the A or X button and they grab your shoestring, you should be ghost from the second you tuck the ball and run. Now, sticking with the running, before I get into his actual passing stats, I want to touch base on each of his actual ball carrier movements, because he's a running quarterback. Usually I'll just focus on the passing stats, but since he's going to be running, there's some things you need to know. Don't try to truck with this dude. His trucking is a 39 overall. You're going to get wrecked. So don't do that. Stay away from the stiff arm. That's a 55 overall. What you want to do is kind of those agility moves, those agile moves. So you want to do the juke, which is rated at 89. You want to do the spin move, which is at 86 right now. And judging by the way he played in the preseason, I'm assuming some of those stats will get a bump up. His ball carrier vision is a 93. That's kind of like, he's not a running back, so it makes a difference, but it's not the end of the world. Carry is a 65, so that's usually how Madden gets their quarterbacks. They have a fast mobile quarterback, and to balance him so the game's not broken, most of the time you'll have him with a lower carry rating. So cover the ball, make sure you slide, get down, get out of bounds. Don't get hit by a linebacker, don't get hit by a safety, because there's a high chance that you'll fumble, especially if it's with a hit stick and on the ball side hand. All right, so with that warning done, let's go ahead and talk about some of the passing stats, because obviously he's a quarterback, so let's get into it. My favorite stat is the throw power, because that's going to determine whether or not you can get the ball into the receiver's hands in a tight situation, and his throw power is a 94 right now, so it doesn't really get much better than that. 92 and above is that range where you want your quarterback to be, where you can almost get the ball anywhere. 97 means they're like gods, like you have Patrick Mahomes. I think Brady was in that list. Mahomes, Brady, and Rodgers last year. But this year I'll take a look, and I might throw it in the comment with who has the highest throw power in the game. So accuracy. He's a fairly accurate quarterback, especially given the fact that he's a running quarterback. Usually they taper that back as well, just like the carry ratings, but not in this case. So the new stat that I talked about before with Baker Mayfield was throwing under pressure. It's a 75, and it was definitely high enough so that I didn't have to worry about, every time the rush was coming, whether my passes would be like 55 yards away from my receiver, just like crazy inaccurate passes like Madden likes to do. But I haven't run into that, so that's a good thing. His throwing on the run is actually his best accuracy stat. It's 85, so get those bootlegs ready. And like I said, when you're rolling out and you got those receivers coming across for a slant, that's going to be your best bet to just, slam it into their chest, because 94 throw power, 85 throw on the run. And if it's a short throw, you got 83 overall accuracy there. So definitely a lot of things working in his favor, especially with the stats. Play action is a 75. That's pretty much standard. That's, middle of the road right there. And overall, he's a 79. But I think in the next couple of years, he's going to be somebody that you'll want to watch out for, as far as Joe Flacco's getting a little bit older. He hasn't lived up to the hype as far as the money they paid him a few years ago, and you could see him take over, just like you saw Alex Smith get booted out from Kansas City, and now Mahomes is the captain of the ship. I think you might see a similar situation, although it's a little bit more rare with the running quarterbacks, because I don't know, the NFL they love the idea of running quarterbacks, but they don't actually love running quarterbacks. And overall, I would definitely give this man a pass. If you have a chance to scoop him up on your MUT team, or even if you're starting a franchise, definitely want to make sure you get him on the roster. He's a fun player to play as well. So that's also another thing that's very important, is do you have a lot of fun playing with the people? Because there's some people that, they have good stats, they're good at the game, but they're not really fun to use, Whereas this guy, it's like every play is like an explosive play. And like I said earlier, he's like a little baby Vick. All right, let me know what you guys think about Lamar Jackson in the comments below. Have you had fun with him? Have you even tried Madden? And if you're enjoying the game so far. All right, you guys be easy, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Let me know if you want to know any specific stats or any specific athletes to be done next. All right, be easy.